All right, next up on these Patreon requests, we got the last track on what is probably Linkin Park's most controversial album, coming off of and evolving from their previous sound. Roll it. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Channel's name is TheThirdErnest. I'm Ernest Ariano III, y'all guys' third family. If you're new here and you're not subscribed and you like what you see at the end of the video, consider clicking the subscribe button bottom right hand corner. Now, as you might know, if you've been around the channel long enough, I am a die-hard Linkin Park fan. Like, they were my favorite group, they were my favorite band for quite some time. Now, this request right here comes from Randy Talby. He is a Patreon supporter, so this is a Patreon request, and this is a request for, I believe, like I said in the cold open, the last song. It's Hands Held High by Linkin Park, I think off of Minutes to Midnight, their last track, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, I remember when Minutes to Midnight came out, they had gone on hiatus for like 4 years between Meteora and Minutes to Midnight, and I remember specifically like this album was the one where they evolved and changed their sound because they wanted to grow away from Hybrid Theory and from Meteora. It was kind of like a lose-lose situation for Linkin Park. Like, if we had another album that sounded exactly like Meteora, which sounded exactly like Hybrid Theory, the world would have said that they were staying stagnant. But they changed their sound, and everybody's gonna say, "Oh, we want the old Linkin Park back." So like it obviously was gonna be a lose-lose situation. But I was like proud of them in that moment. But I remember being proud of them as a fan because they decided to change their sound and evolve their sound because they're growing up. We're growing up. I no longer want what I wanted from Meteora and Hybrid Theory. So growing up with them as a band, it's been super dope to see how their sound changes from album to album. Now, obviously, I've already heard this song because I pretty much have this whole entire album memorized for like 10 years, but I'm gonna break it down and I'm gonna tell you exactly what was going through my mind when I heard it the first time and what's going through my mind right now, because some would say, or some might say, that it is a very relevant track today as it was back in 2007 or whatever when the album came out. But that's all that I got for you today. Follow your boy on Instagram and on Twitter at TheThirdErnest, just like the channel. The links are down in the description below. And we got Hands Held High by Linkin Park. Let's get it. So before we get started, because it's about to come in the next bar, I remember when I had heard this track, and even now thinking about it, like just the way the sound of the organ, obviously a very clear church organ, and then the sound of like the very militant drum style off of the snare, like the way that came together, especially with the political nature of the song. It's such a good combination, especially considering it's almost like a military like war drummer style of percussion that's hitting right there.
My mic up louder, I got to say something. Lightweight, step to the side when we come in. Feel it in your chest, the syllables get pumping. People on the street, they panic and start running. Words on loose leaf sheet, complete coming. I jump on my mind, I summon the rhyme, I'm dumping. Healing the blind, I promise to let the sun in. Sick of the dark ways, we march to the drumming.
Dog, Mike Shinoda's pen is so good. And I think this album specifically is one when I realized, damn, like, because obviously, you know, Meteora and Hybrid Theory, he had a good pen, but all the songs were just like angst filled. They were all about relationships, or they were all about like, you know, just pain living through, just normal new metal type of lyrics. But when they switched to this sound, and then the lyrics got more mature, and we moved away from just the normal type of lyrics that you expected from Meteora and Hybrid Theory, that's when we started to see songs like this. And this song is extremely powerful. One of my favorite lines of all time from Linkin Park and from Mike comes from this track. But he says, "Feel it in your chest, the syllables get pumping," and not even talking about the actual beat, because the beat, you don't feel anything in your chest. There is no bass rhythm or anything like that. So what you feel in your chest, you feel it in your heart, like the words that are being said, like you're passionate about a topic. Like, turn my mic up louder, I gotta say something I'm passionate about, you know? And he says, words on loose leaf sheet, complete coming. I thought that rhyme pattern right there was fire when I heard it for the first time. Words on loose leaf sheet, complete coming. I jump in my mind, I summon the rhyme, I'm dumping. I can't express myself normally, so I summon these lyrics that I write to express myself in ways that I normally can't. So I'm summoning the rhyme to dump all my thoughts out onto the sheets of paper. Just the creative and artistic, poetic way of saying that. And he says, I'm healing the blind, because obviously blind can hear what hear his message, hear his music, hear the emotion that he has. I promise to let the sun in. I'm sick of the dark ways we march to the drum, and obviously the drum in the background is playing, like we're just marching. We're just doing what we're told. I promise I'm gonna let the sun in and let people see light and let people see the way and the silver lining from what we have gathered in this world. You know, it's crazy.
Healing the blind, I promise to let the sun in. Sick of the dark ways we march to the drum and jump when they tell us that they want to see jumping. Fuck that, I want to see some fist pumping. Risk something, take back what's yours. Say something that you know they might attack you for. Cause I'm sick of being treated like I have before. Like a stupid standing for what I'm standing for. Like this war's really just a different brand of war. Like it doesn't cater to rich and abandon poor. Like
this was like, I remember when this came out, and this album in general, this is like right after Katrina, if I'm not mistaken, when this album came out, and then, or Katrina had just happened, and the world saw like the way that the entire government mishandled that situation. I remember this album, especially songs like this, and then there was another one that where Chester, R.I.P., has like most of the time on the song, and he's talking about political stances and those kind of things. I remember it because I remember it clearly thinking that, oh, this is definitely an anti-Bush type of track because that's the president at the time. This one also has like remnants of that, but it's more so like, yo, we need to stand for something. Like, if you stand for nothing, you'll fall for anything type of thing. And it's almost like a speech right before going to battle, or it's like a speech, like a halftime speech, or something that a coach would tell somebody, or would tell their team whenever they're down, whenever they're feeling down, like, yo, we have the opportunity to still make change, you know? But he says we jump when they tell us that they want to see jumping. Like, why? Fuck that. I want to see some fist pumping. I want to see people going against the grain. Says like, risk something, take back what's yours, say something that you know they might attack you for, but at least you're having a stance. At least you're using your own mind. Because I'm sick of being treated like I have in the past, like I'm like a stupid standing for what I'm standing for. Like my personal beliefs and my values, I've come to this conclusion with all of the memories and all of the hurdles that I've leapt in the past. So like your stance and my stance, they aren't stupid. They might be different, but don't feel belittled by people who have different opinions than you do. And he said this war, like it's a different brand of war, like it's still war in general. Like the poor gain nothing from this type of war. It's the rich the wars cater to the rich and abandon the poor. That's such a dope line.
Like it doesn't cater to rich and abandon poor. Like they understand you in the back of the jet when you can't put gas in your tank. These fuckers are laughing the way to the bank and cashing a check, asking you to have compassion and have some respect for a leader so nervous in an obvious way, stuttering and mumbling for nightly news to replay, and the rest of the world watching at the end of the day in their living room laughing like, what did he say?
Yeah, see, so like that it was in this moment, like that last lyric right there when he says a leader like that basically the rest of the world laughs at. Like all the rich people who are benefiting from the war that George Bush had wagered on the Middle East after 9/11. Mike Shinoda here is basically saying like this war is no different than any other war, and don't listen to the rich people that say that you need to feel some kind of empathy for George Bush and the situation that the world has placed him in. Like, how am I supposed to feel empathy whenever we have this guy on TV who clearly is a laughingstock to the rest of the world? And whether or not that's your sentiment or that's your idea of what happened back then, that I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about what Mike Shinoda's talking about. That's the reason why I feel like the song is still relevant, because that's one of the main criticisms that people who criticize Donald Trump of, even if they believe his political stances, even if they feel like he's doing good for the economy or whatever you believe, it's pretty hard to deny, if you're looking with an objective eye, that the rest of the world laughs at this guy because he doesn't have the presence when he's talking to the United States or talking to reporters or talking to the world. He just doesn't have that. He doesn't have that smooth talking, educated presidential appearance. You know what I'm saying? Especially coming off of like a president who did have that, like with Obama, he had that. Even if you don't agree with his policy, if you're someone on the right who agrees more with Trump, if you're looking with an objective eye, you can clearly see the difference between like the elegance and the eloquence that Obama had versus Trump. And I feel like that's the same sentiment that's being said here in this song. How are you supposed to respect George Bush when the rest of the world is laughing at this guy, you know? But I remember the next verse that we're going into, it has some of the most powerful lines that I had ever heard at this time. Especially, this is when I realized, like, damn, Mike Shinoda is a writer. And I'll point them out when we get to them, because like in my mind, they blew my mind when I heard them for the first time. By the way, I think I was like 17 when this album came out, just to give you a little bit of like where I was at in time when this album released.
Living room watching, but I am not laughing, cause when it gets tense I know what might happen. World is cold, the bold men take action, have to react to get blown into fractions. 10 years old.
Yeah, so that was the line right there. That was the first line when I was like, damn, the world is cold, the bold men take action. Like, holy shit.
Cold, the bold men take action, have to react to get blown into fractions. 10 years old is something to see. Another kid my age drugged under a Jeep, taken and bound and found later under a tree. I wonder if he thought the next one could be me. Do you see?
Taken and found later bound under a tree. I wonder if he had the thought the next one could be me, because that's what I'm thinking right now. I wonder if he was like, oh, I'm untouchable. Like I see those things happening in the news and in the world, but that'll never happen to me. You know, that's crazy. All right, and what's coming up is definitely the part that I'm talking about where it like hit me lyrically very powerful.
Found later under a tree. I wonder if he thought the next one could be me. Do you see the soldiers that are out today to brush the dust from bulletproof vests away? It's ironic at times like this you pray, but a bomb blew the mosque up yesterday. There's bombs on the buses.
Dog. It's ironic that times like this we pray, like we pray for peace. When we don't pray, we don't reach to God whenever we're thankful for what we have. We take it for granted, but at times like this we pray. But the ironic thing is that the bomb from the war that was waged blew the place of worship up for a religion yesterday. It's crazy.
At times like this you pray, but a bomb blew the mosque up yesterday. There's bombs on the buses, bikes, roads, inside your market, your shops, your clothes. My dad has got a lot of fear, I know, but enough pride inside not to let that show.
And I like, it took me very long to realize that the bombs that he's talking about could not be like literal bombs. Like, yes, there's bombs, especially like if you're in a third world country, like there's a chance that suicide bombers are like inside your clothes, that kind of thing. But he could just be talking about like a symbolic bomb. Like it's just the clock is ticking before all this explodes. So all this obviously right here is very powerful, but it's the next 4 bars and specifically the last bar that's when I was like, damn, speechless, left speechless by this man's pen.
Not to let that show. My brother had a book he would hold with pride, a little red cover with a broken spine on the back. He hand wrote a quote inside: when the rich wage war, it's the poor who die. Meanwhile, the leader just talks.
When the rich wage war, it's the poor who die. God damn, son, that is heavy. And it's so true. The rich are the ones waging the war against each other. They're the ones moving all the pieces on the chessboard, but the pawns are never the rich. The pawns are always the kids, the people who enlisted in the military. Like, they are playing chess with real lives. And it's not even just like the military men, like at the higher level. Like, obviously the military men are the ones who are moving the pawns, but they know what it feels like to be part of that brotherhood and know the burden of the decisions that they make. The rich that he's talking about are like the oil field, are like the people who are rich from oil, the people who are rich from gasoline, are like higher up social elites. Like, the rich are the ones who wage war with the lobbyists, and it's the poor and it's the higher up military personnel who have to send the poor and use them as chess pieces, and they're the ones that end up, their lives get lost. I remember when I heard that line for the first time, bro, I had to like stop it multiple times and rewind.
Pride, a little red cover with a broken spine on the back. He hand wrote a quote inside: when the rich wage war, it's the poor who die. Meanwhile, the leader just talks away, stuttering and mumbling for nightly news to replay, and the rest of the world watching at the end of the day, both scared and angry, like, what did he say?
See the way they changed, see the way he changed it? Like, now we're no longer laughing at the president. Now we're scared and angry. Like, what did he really just say that? Because now the shit is real. Before it was all just like, oh, it'll never happen to me. But now that the war is happening and everything, crazy. And again, we're talking about President Bush and the way that he didn't have that very eloquent like way of speaking. He didn't seem very classy about the way that he spoke. And the same could be said about Donald Trump. Again, whether you believe in his agenda or what he does or not, politics, you can't deny the fact that the dude is just not a very good speaker. He's not someone that bodes confidence with the way that he talks, you know?
With hands held high into the sky so blue, the ocean opens up to swallow you. With hands held high into the sky so blue, the ocean opens up to swallow you. With hands held high into the sky so blue, the ocean opens up to swallow you.
Dog. That whole last part of the track where he's like, where like the strings come in, the amen stays over the top. They start going into like, I guess it's not the bridge because it's the end of the track, but they go into that hands held high to the sky so blue, like we're praying to the heavens above, but the ocean, what the real world down here is swallowing us whole. Dog, that like just the the lyrical interpretation of saying the ocean, like we're being surrounded by waters, we're drowning down here, but also the sky is blue just like the ocean's blue. Bro, this song is one of my favorite Linkin Park tracks ever, for multiple reasons that don't have anything to do with politics whatsoever. It's the moment in time that I was in. It's the fact that like this was when I realized that Mike Shinoda was a true, clear lyricist, away from the feelings of emotion and relationships, like actually saying things with his words that resonate. Like this was when I realized that he had that within him, and it's been ever since, you know? But yo, that brings us to the end of this video, ladies and gentlemen. Randy, I appreciate your request, my guy. This is not gonna be one of the more popular Linkin Park tracks to react to, but I did feel it was very important. One, because it was your request, and two, because I have a lot of emotional ties to the track. Everybody out there, if you like what you see, please consider liking the video and leaving a comment down below. It helps the algorithm. If you like what you see enough, please consider subscribing, because these long form breakdowns is how we do it around this channel. Anybody else that wants to support the channel potentially in a monetary way, in the same way that Randy does, go check out the Patreon. First link down in the description. The Patreon is really the only reason why I'm able to do this and put out these quality videos on a consistent basis with the quantity that I have been, because I am able to do this full time because of Patreon. So if you hit up the Patreon and decide that you see enough value in the channel to throw some dollars my way, I would greatly appreciate it. Follow your boy on Instagram, Twitter, and Discord, all linked down in the description below. But that's all that I got for today, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate your time, and like I always say at the end of all of my videos, go out there in the world, love and care for one another, love and care for each other, and I'll catch everybody on the next video. Peace.